Hello and welcome! It's been a year, Helen, since you've been on the channel. You're back. I'm so excited. I'm excited. It's Kyle, the Mandalorian here from Fandom Media, and Helen from the Clueless Fangirl. Today, we are here to bring you a review for The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 3, The Heiress. And today is going to be a super fun day. As you can see, Helen's looking all professional with her books in the background, looking all studious, and you got me with anime posters in the background. Nonetheless, they are great art. But Helen, welcome back. It's going to be super fun talking about the Mando today.
Yay, I am so excited. And sorry, people, for not showing up for the first and the second one. But it might look similar to my old backdrop, but I actually moved houses and cities and everything. And it was a bit stressful. But yay, for the third and the best one, I'm back.
You're late.
Sorry, you were late today.
Never late, Frodo Baggins.
Anyways, this is going to be a super fun stream. Thank you to everyone who's joining today. Hopefully, you all watched the episode, and we're not spoiling you, but if you're into that kind of thing, well, you're here now, and it's too late. So we're going to do a couple of shout-outs. Of course, you see the pinned message at the top of the screen. We're celebrating Morley's birthday for 3 or 4 days or so. She deserves it. It was her birthday yesterday, so happy birthday, Morley. We see Vlad in the chat. I see Kate Bertinsky. I do see Rick Hoppy, the Maester of Coffee, and I'm sure we'll have a few more coming to hang out in the chat as well. And I see some people are saying the episode was so good. But before we get into episode 3, we're going to talk, since we missed the last two together, had some scheduling, Helen was moving into her own place. Let's talk a little bit about the overview of the season so far, because season 1 was really good, Helen. We both agree on that. We thought it was a solid introductory season. We knew that they were going to build on the success of what they had. They had great characters. They had set out great lore with the Mandalorian culture and the backstories. And now we're starting to get a little bit deeper, even though we haven't kind of gotten to the main plot until this episode. So what are your thoughts on the first 2 episodes of the season? A little bit of kind of side questy episodes, but nonetheless, really nice episodes.
What about overall? There is 1 or 2 story arcs, that overshadow all episodes. That was how it was in the first season. But then, you have a different director for every episode. So that makes it quite hard. And I think it's not what they want to have a coherent story. It's like side quests, and that is totally fine for me because all these side quests make the universe bigger, right? They introduce new characters who might show up in spin-offs or whatever. I don't mind that, actually. In the beginning, I was like, I'd rather have something, like story in episode 1 is like plays out in episode 2 till the end. But we kind of had that, and I don't mind the way they do it with the different directors, and it still feels like it's the Mando story, but yeah, I liked the first one. The second one was a bit of a filler. I have the feeling the 4th now will be a bit of a filler episode as well. But I do think that's due to budget. Because this one must have cost a lot, at least CGI, or the water world. It was like a bit of. Do you remember that Kevin Costner movie? What was it? Water.
That was a long time ago.
I know, but it felt like Quarrens in Waterworld.
You said something really interesting, though, Helen. You said making the universe bigger. They're doing that by making it smaller and making us experience the outer rim, making us see how people live their lives from the normal perspective of, say, an engineer who may be working on Tatooine, or, just the people like, Timothy the Oliphant's character, Cobb. He was one of my favorite side characters that they've introduced so far. How he had kind of trying to move his life forward after the huge war with the Empire, and we saw how that affected this Los Palmos, smaller place, and saw how it affected the lives of everyone. So while you say it is getting bigger, it also really puts the magnifying glass on certain aspects of the universe that I've enjoyed about it so far.
Yeah, and the thing is, what Disney does so clever, and I've been preaching that since last year. Disney is so clever in introducing little hints, and because now you learn as somebody who hasn't seen the Clone Wars or who hasn't seen Rebels, you're like, oh, who is Bo-katan? Maybe I should watch Rebels. Maybe I should watch Clone Wars. I mean, they're all on Disney Plus now. It's a good, people unsubscribe after the Mandalorian, I think. Yeah. But if you have a running series for what, like Clone Wars, it ran for how many years? I think 8 years or something, right? So obviously,
now Filoni's on this project.
Yeah, so if you want to binge that, right, you stay on Disney, and that they bring in characters from all the, from that universe. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in characters from Battlefront, from the games and stuff like that, because I do think Disney is very clever in marketing, and I do think they're very clever in wanting people to stay on Disney Plus and binging and learning more about the universe, because the universe is not just the Mandalorian and the cinematic movies. There's so much out there.
And we saw the cliffhanger at the end of episode 1 which is likely Boba Fett. We talked a little bit privately how there could be this Rex Boba thing going on, and how Tamora Morrison could play 2 characters. So you are right in even introducing, we got multiple generations of Star Wars watchers, Helen. Like both me and you, we love the animated series. You're more into the novels. I've kind of got a little bit into the audiobooks, so I don't know as much as you do, of course. But it is really interesting that you say that, and I think it is really great for the casual viewer who is a fan of Star Wars overall. This series, whether you're a hardcore fan or whether you're a casual fan, you can enjoy it just as much. And I think that they really nailed it so far. Before we get back into the conversation, holy moly, Marley, you know what we got to do. Toss a coin to your YouTuber, oh, Valley of Plenty, oh. Toss a coin to friend of humanity.
And happy birthday! I wished Maura in a DM today,
and
because
I sit here and listen to me sing. Thank you, Maura. That is worth the price of admission, I think. We really appreciate you, and of course, a big happy birthday to Maura in chat. Like I said, we're celebrating her birthday for a few days here. So back to what we were talking about, Helen. Before we get into the breakdown, so we both agree. They have really good people at the helm, and it seems to, people were worried because season 1 was really good that it might fall down in season 2, and it is really, look at what happened with Game of Thrones. Obviously, as the seasons went on, it was a bit more difficult to kind of recapture the magic, you know what I mean, of all of these great moments that you have. But it seems so far they've been able to, and one thing that is really good, we talked a little bit about how short this episode was, and we'll discuss this. It was only 30 minutes, but the pacing was really good this episode.
It didn't feel like 30 minutes. I was surprised when you told me, because I'm not looking, I watched and it didn't feel like 30 minutes, because I was like, every second something happened. And, with the introduction of the Mandalorians, the real Mandalorians, with Bo-katan, people who were born on Mandalore. It was so epic. I was so happy because, like I said, I'm the biggest Clone Wars and Rebels fan, and I was happy. But I do think other people who just like and know the Mandalorian and the cinematic movies, they will be interested in that character as well. And I do think, I don't know if you want to talk about it later, but I'm 100% convinced, because we heard that if you
hire next episode kind of at the end, if you want to do that too.
No, it's not that. Oh. It's talking about possible spin-off series. We did that last year, and we I really do think that I'm talking about widening the universe and making more money, and obviously they need more shows, because who knows what's happening.
Cassian Andor, which we spoke about on the stream.
Oh no, not that one. I the Ahsoka series, because if you hire somebody like Rosario Dawson, she's not just coming in for 1 or 2 appearances. I think they hired her to have a spin-off, and now the character of
Bo-katan, Katie Sackhoff could be in that series.
That's what I'm thinking, because she said, I mean, she's the one tipping the Mando off, telling him to go and see Ashoka. And we know from their history, I mean, she hired Ashoka in the Clone Wars series to help her to get to fight for Mandalore against the Empire and against Maul. So that would make total sense. I mean, I don't know the time frame we are talking, if it's a pre-Mandalore, pre this Mandalorian series or afterwards, but taking back Mandalore. But I'm 100% convinced that the almost confirmed Ashoka spin-off is with Bo-katan now, because it makes sense. I don't think there will be two. I don't think there will be a
Well, they're talking about
Bo-katan
the Cara Dune
spin-off.
spin-off as well now. And we haven't got much of her. We'll talk more about episode 4, because we were just actually talking like right before the stream about the directors of each episode. So we'll get into that. Let's talk a little bit about episode 3 though, Helen. Yeah. Directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. She's back. She had a great episode last season where we got
that was my least favorite, actually. Yeah.
STST. We got the fishing village.
Yeah.
Come on, and Mira, the Mandalorian.
Yeah, it was more
love interest.
Yes, but the thing is, I mean, Bryce did it perfectly visually. It felt it. I mean, she was
Parky, yeah.
She was interested. Yeah, exactly. And I think she played homage, to her father doing Solo. There were some Solo references in there as well. But the thing is,
Ron Howard being her father, by the way, Chad, just in case you didn't know.
Exactly. Yeah. So the thing is, I loved this episode. It's my top 2 Mandalorian, top 3 Mandalorian, if not.
Saying.
Yeah, so Bryce did it perfectly, and she has a very good feeling about the little things, and the human side of things. This was what it was in the first in the first one last year, because the love interest and blah blah blah, and like the frog people, whatever. Then do they have names? Frog lady, frog man
is where I'm going with it.
Yeah, frog lady, frog man. I mean, that was so cute and so like their hugging scene.
Baby Yoda eating the eggs, being teenager.
He stopped eating the eggs. Although at the end, I wasn't sure, is he playing with that little frog baby or is he going to eat it? But yeah.
I mean, he ate a live octopus basically out of that, or calamar. He ate it right out of the stew, so that was really interesting. One thing I really did notice about this episode too, and that I thought that Bryce Dallas nailed last season, was the way she handled women in the episode. Strong women, and I think that's one of the particular reasons they chose her to direct this episode is the introduction of Bo-katan, Katie Sackhoff. An absolutely huge moment, right? We talked about this before the season, and we talked, about Sabine Wren, which we didn't end up getting. We're going to talk about that, Sasha Banks' character. But I really do feel that they chose her because not only is she really good at highlighting the little things, but she also took that woman power. Like Bo-katan, she was flexing. You know what I mean? She was like, this is the way. Right?
Yeah, but Filoni created those. But the thing is, Filoni created those characters. And if you watch Clone Wars, there are, it's a show based around Anakin and his journey becoming Darth Vader. But in the end, there's so many. Bo-Katan's sister, Duchess Satine, she's not a warrior, but she's literally one of the best politicians in this galaxy, right? And she stands for the other side. She doesn't want to fight. She's a pacifist, and so Filoni created powerful women, and not the Rey type, but real women.
By the way, you're asking a question, Helen. How do you get the Baby Yoda icon in the Mando helmet in chat? If you hit the join button, which is $4.99 a month, you get tags and all sorts of special emojis. I got a Gimli emoji and all sorts of stuff. So for people that unlock those, like to spam those, Morley does it all the time. As you can see, Tinkerbell, who's a member in chat, your name gets highlighted in green, and there's all sorts of cool perks, bonus content, and stuff like that. So
good.
Yeah, that's how you get it. Special, and you get to pick. It's pretty cool. I think if we get one more person to join, I get to make a new emoji. Like every time you get like 5 people, you get to unlock a new one. It's pretty cool. Anyways, that's the answer to your question there, Helen. Morley's already advertising there. So yeah, we'll do scores later and stuff like that. So let's kind of start off at the start of the episode. We have, you know, the Mando ship is in bad shape.
Like, I mean, come on.
Right. And we saw that, and this is the shot that we saw in the trailer that we weren't sure where he was going, right? We knew that he was going to be headed to a water planet. We thought that it could be Camino, possibly with Dr. Pershing being introduced last season, but that's something that we kind of haven't had a touch on at all yet. No, if that's going to be a thing, but we got to this planet and you predicted it. You said we were going to see the Kalmar people. So Mon Calamar, so that's really cool that we got to see that. And yeah, it was just another really cool setting. And to start off the episode, you know, I thought it was Sabine. You thought it was Sabine. There was rumors that Sasha was going to play Sabine, and her kind of lurking in the shadows gave me more Jedi vibes, more so than Mandalore vibes. So that was kind of cool, setting the kind of tone that we are going to be getting some Jedi this season, which is going to be super exciting.
with a cloak and everything. You know, I felt it. She looked like a Jedi in the
she could possibly be an Ahsoka type. You know what I mean? Some people speculated that she could be Ahsoka, but then it was confirmed that Rosario Dawson was going to be playing Ahsoka. But it was really cool to see that setting and the Mando having to be like, okay, having to go get that information, the same kind of thing, you know, going to these cantinas, kind of these sketchy places, and then finding out that, you know, there is another location to find the Mandalorian people. But then they get into some trouble, Helen. And that kind of where the bulk of the first part of the episode happens. So yeah, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so never trust a Quarren, first of all, because where were they introduced? You know, they were hanging around Jabba's palace. So I mean, come on, people. You know, Mon Calamari, the good ones, and then the Quarrens who also live on this planet. Apparently, also water people. People who know me know I give weird names. So the other water people, the Quarrens, not so good people apparently. And I was in the beginning, I was like, wait a moment, but Frogman kind of Frog Lady and Frogman kind of introduced them, and I was like, did they tip that guy off? But I don't think so, you know, because they knew the bar owner, and the bar owner directed them to that whatever. I don't know the Quarren's name, the ship captain's name, and I was like, you know, when they showed the scene on the boat, I was like, no, you literally can't trust anyone in this galaxy. And then obviously the Mandalorians show up, and I found it so interesting, you know, and I think this is the main thing of that episode is there's more than one way, apparently, and seriously, like. Poor Pedro Pascal, for one season, the guy could not take off his bloody helmet. And then these people show up. And I mean, you know, with Cobb Vanth, I know, but with Cobb Vanth, I got it because he's not a Mandalorian. He's just wearing the armor. And the thing is, and now we learn, okay, this is not the way. There's another way. No, but it made sense when Bo-katan then later explained. And I do think for everybody who doesn't know that, I think it's important to explain that she tells him, you are a child of the Watch. So that
the Death Watch.
So the thing is, on Mandalore, there were two fractions, right? Because I said Duchess Satine, she was the ruler of Mandalore. Mandalore was kind of, you couldn't really live on Mandalore during a long, long time. And they lived in little villages with domes and stuff like that.
Because like a mining planet.
Exactly. And it was kind of destroyed. They still live there. And Satine, she chose the way of, she was the ruler of Mandalore at that time. And Bo-katan is her sister. And she chose the way of a pacifist way. She stopped fighting. She stopped taking part in the wars. And they were a peaceful planet. So if you then know, okay, so this is not the way. And then there were the other people from the Death Watch, and they wanted to live the old way the Mandalorians used to live, like Mandalore the Ultimate, and Mandalore the Great, the first wielder of the Darksaber. And
more militant-like. It reminds me of kind of like how Theon Greyjoy was debating whether to be Ironborn or Stark. It kind of reminds me a little bit of that. Sorry, Game of Thrones reference.
It's true. So they were complete, you know, there was a political pacifist side. And exactly, it those were two sisters, standing for both of these ways. And Bo-Katan stood for she was part of the Death Watch for a while, and they were banned from Duchess Satine and her people to a moon. Concordia, I think it was Concordia. It was the moon
which the
surrounding.
Emperor raided for materials for the Death Star.
Exactly, yes. And so again, universe is connected. And yeah, so they lived there. And the Death Watch, they come into play many, many times during Rebels and Clone Wars. And they fought with Darth Maul, then they fought against Darth Maul. So it's really interesting, the history of the pacifist Mandalore and then the armed Mandalorian. So it's like two ways. And what she says is, Djarin, so the Mandalorian, he was raised by the Death Watch. He's a child of the Watch. This is what she's saying. But she now says there is also another way. Obviously, she's not a pacifist. She wants to take back and claim the throne of Mandalore back. But it's not about, the helmet and the armor. She stands, for me, she's more a soldier. And the Mandalorian is somebody who just wants to survive and does bounty hunting. That's two complete, they all fight. They all need the armor, but it's two complete different ways of living.
A monk of that order. What's really interesting too, Helen, you mentioned all of this great backstory. We got to see some of these flashbacks, and the Mandalorian was really young when the Siege of Mandalore happened, which Ahsoka Tano, which is a part of, and she could kind of fill in the blank for some of him. And not just Baby Yoda. So that's why she's important. But going back to his flashbacks, his parents weren't armed in Mandalorian armor. They looked like they were part of the pacifist clan.
Yes.
However, they got killed when they were by all the droids. The order that Emperor Palpatine sent out to kill all the Jedi. He wasn't just taking out Jedi. He was encroaching upon other planets to impose his will. So that's really interesting. So his parents are dead, and then he gets saved by the Death Watch. What is he going to do? He has no other choice. His life is literally forfeit to these people who saved his life. So that's where this is kind of going, which is really interesting, because I think we're going to see some more flashbacks, Helen, and you pointed out, there's these two factions. There's these people that continue to fill in the blanks, right? Like, we got a little bit of the idea in the first episode with Cobb Vanth. Hey, you know what I mean? I'm not a real Mandalorian. I take it off. And that's implanting the idea in his head. Cobb Vanth still able to be this lawful good person and do good things, even though he's not a Mandalorian, still taking off the helmet as a Mandalorian shouldn't. Then we see Boba, no helmet. Then we see the Mandalorians in this episode, people who are literally part of the Death Watch, take off their gear. So they're cute. The Mandalorian has now had this idea implanted in his head a couple times now. And even though he's not receptive to it, it's going to continue to happen, I think. And
of
people
course.
are going to tell him stories, obviously, about how he doesn't know about his own history.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, I live in this country, you live in this country. There are many different, you can either be Protestant or Catholic, or you're still religious, right? So this is how I feel. But I found it really interesting because Bo-Katan, as you know her, she is a fighter. She's a warrior. And yes, she's still that. But I have a feeling that she more and more, because she says she wants to reclaim Mandalore. And I do think she wants to be the ruler because she wants a Darksaber, and the Darksaber is basically Excalibur, right? It's like the sword that unites your people and gives you the right to rule Mandalore.
It's basically like a crown.
Exactly. It's like Excalibur was. And the thing is, she wants that. And if you remember Clone Wars, she didn't want it in the beginning. And her sister was ruling. And I do think she changes a bit and she gets more to the, a ruler needs he can't just be a warrior. Yes, this is still Mandalore, but a ruler needs different. He needs to be a politician as well. He needs to be wise as well, and all that. And I can't wait to see that. And I don't think we will see that a lot in The Mandalorian, but I do think we will see that in the spin-off. And this is what, oh my God, I would be so excited for.
Well, it's
for
really
that.
interesting you say that, Helen, that point, because one of the points that they made this episode in the conversations between Bo-Katan and Din Djarin and Armando is that the Empire still has this force, right? And that's why they were trying to raid their supplies. And then we saw the appearance of Moff Gideon. And they spoke about that, and they know that Darksaber. So we don't know how Moff Gideon got the Darksaber, but we know
there's
that
a
he
blank
knows about the Siege of
space.
Mandalore, Helen, and he knows this. He knows about Din when they were talking. He had information about Din Djarin. He knew who he was. Like there was some sort of database of information, like, you know, we have basically on every planet. So there is something really interesting going on there, and there's going to be some sort of twist in there where Din Djarin is going to be like, whoa. He's going to have his world rocked when he finds out, because he doesn't have a lot of information, right? He's just kind of going by the rules.
Yeah. Yes. No, the whole, and I do think he needs to come in because we have, what do we have? 8 episodes, I think. So, so I mean, they teased the Darksaber now in the 3rd. I think the 4th Carl Weathers will show up, and the 5th.
He's directing the episode as well.
So would make sense. And the 5th, so the next after that one will be Ahsoka, because Filoni is directing that one, and she is him and George Lucas, if we believe the rumors. And he loves that character. And I mean, for everybody who loves Clone Wars, I hated her in the first season. And then she grew on me and I loved her. And I can't wait.
She's some of the best character development, if not the best character development.
She has.
Of pretty much any character, I think. And that's why she's a fan favorite. Helen, quick shout out to a couple people who have just joined us. Jess, we have Jess Briefek, we have Anthony Shaddix, and we also have, am I missing anyone? Marley's also chilling in the chat. Just wanted to give a shout out. We had a few more people come and show up, and Tinkerbell's hanging. Anyways, it's super interesting that they chose to do Ahsoka. And as soon as it was announced, both of us, we texted each other, and I was like, oh my God, Rosario Dawson, like she's a huge actress. This is a huge deal. And we had kind of talked about the spinoffs and stuff like that. But, this was a shorter episode, Helen, but the final 4 episodes will probably be about an hour, 50 minutes, 45 minutes. They'll be generally a bit longer so you can get multiple perspectives in a bit longer story. These are just setup episodes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And what I found also super interesting is, Bo-Katan, she knew all the Jedi. She knew, her sister was involved with Obi-Wan. Obi was for a really long time on Mandalore, helping Satine, Bo-Katan's sister. And she knows Anakin. She knows all these people. So the character, because, we were always discussing about and talking about, does anyone in the universe still know what the Force even is? And, when when that lady, the armor lady, the Mandalorian, the armorer, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Sorry, it's very late.
Shame.
Why shame? I'm a foreigner. Shut the F up. The armor lady. And when she told him, you need to find his kind. And the Jedi were ancient sorcerers and blah, blah, blah. So a lot of people just have a vague idea in the Outer Rim what the Jedi even were. Just look at Rey. She will be, Rey's timeline is just a bit later. But still, people were like, oh, aren't these just ancient myths and blah, blah, blah. And Bo-Katan and Ahsoka as well, is somebody who witnessed the Jedi. She knew all the Jedi. She knew Anakin. She knew Obi-Wan. Yeah, she fought with them. So that is so cool. It's so meaningful that this character now is in The Mandalorian, because The Mandalorian is, like you said, more a space western. It's in the Outer Rim. It's a different side of the universe, less politics, less blah, blah, blah. And it's so cool because Bo-Katan now connects all this and opens a new door. And Bo-Katan looked at, if she just looks at Baby Yoda, she must know of Yoda. Maybe she met him, we don't know, but she must know of Yoda. So she must be able to tell him, well, I know his species. So,
you know what's really interesting, Helen, is you say about all of this awesome information that we're getting. Giancarlo Esposito, who plays Moff Gideon, who hasn't appeared that much, has said we're going to start to learn more about this in seasons 5 and 6, later seasons. And he kind of let it slip that Mandalorian is going to be doing 5, 6, 7 seasons. So we're going to have a lot of time to expand this universe and Jedi, get all of these plot points and continue to build on this mythology, this awesome Mandalorian mythology, which was really, built in season 1. And, like the Great Dragon is another thing that was just like super cool that they included. But the Jedi Order, the Empire, all of these different factions, that's what makes the Star Wars universe so interesting, is their ideologies and why things are happening the way they are. And we're starting to see we're starting to see that elevated, and the stakes get higher and higher and higher, like you're saying.
Yeah. But the thing is, what I liked, that we got introduced to this world via the lens of the Mandalorian in the Outer Rim, just somebody fighting and people to survive, because you thought at the end, Return of the Jedi, everything is perfect. People on all planets were celebrating. And if I love all the Chuck Wendig and all these books, that like the Aftermath books and everything, which is the time after the Empire fell. And it wasn't all good, people were struggling. The Empire wasn't just evil. The Empire fed a lot of people. The Empire, there were different sides to the Empire. And this is when you see that ship captain guy, who killed himself in the end, he, long live the Empire and all that. I kind of like that they introduced us in a whole season, for a whole year. They introduced they didn't just show us in episode 1 Jedi and lightsaber fights and all that, because that is stuff we already know. This is stuff we love, yes, but we saw the other side of the Empire has fallen, and as I said, people surviving, people still fighting. What is actually good? Was the Empire that bad? Is the New Republic really, really good? Because what does the New Republic for me in the Outer Rim? I love that. I love that this is shown in this series, and it's not just about Jedi. And I hope it won't become just about Jedi, but I don't think so. I think they just tease this and will then lead you to spin-off series like the Ahsoka spin-off series, Bo-katan, blah, blah, blah. And I think the Mandalorian should stay in that space western, dirty, surviving bounty
Ahsoka's
hunt.
kind of always been in that mold of character, though, someone who is questioning the higher ideas of what's going on. Like, she wasn't always aligned with everything that was going on with the Jedi. And of course, her master was Anakin, someone that was incredibly, he was basically pulled apart between the dark and the light side. He couldn't decide until, obviously he was influenced by stronger powers than himself, by the Emperor. But still, the fact that they are illuminating this and they're going towards these grittier, more grounded moments in basically a space western is fucking awesome. So I'm in agreement.
Yeah. So, I mean, Vlad, yes, you are right. Obviously, yes, the Empire and the Emperor was evil, but
they're fascists essentially. Yeah.
Yes, but the thing is, there are always two sides of the medallion, right? And the thing is, this is when I don't know if you've read some of the books or some of the comics. The thing is, after the Empire fell, not everything was perfect. The New Republic had problems, and this is why then later we got, this is why the Emperor could come back and everything, and the Empire, I mean, it's always with these kind of regimes and everything. Obviously, yes, it is all bad, but it is not all bad, because it fed people. People were employed in the Empire and they didn't know, and soldiers and everything, that they didn't know. And after it fell, they had no purpose in life. Look at Cara Dune, she didn't work for the Empire, but she didn't have a job because all of that, what they fought for or what her job was meaningless all of a sudden. I'm not saying it is good. It's just, it was complete chaos. It wasn't just all good after the Empire fell. And this is what the Mandalorian shows you. And this is what I really like, because you don't see that in Return of the Jedi. It just ends on a happy note, you know? And yes. Oh yeah, Vlad read a ton of books from the original. Yes, I mean, yeah. The now no longer canon books are the best. I'm just saying.
They're building new canon now, which is excellent. I like.
Yeah, and the thing is, Filoni loves the old stuff. You know, he brought in Thrawn. Hello, I mean, best character ever. And yeah, Filoni loves the old canon books.
Speaking of someone connected to Thrawn, Ezra. Ooh, we can maybe see him pop up eventually. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about, Helen, was the Mando being a dad. Get your hands off that. Stop touching that. And then you saw how he concerned, get the child. Like his first instinct was like, I don't get fucking Baby Yoda. He was so concerned that Baby Yoda was swallowed by this like terrible water eel or Leviathan or wherever it was.
Yeah.
I just love how the Mando is a dad now. It's just so funny.
Yeah, it is. Yes, and I mean the way, you know, he holds him now is very dad like. It's different than, you know, than in season 1. But I still do think, I mean, his goal is kind of to still get rid of him, because he knows he knows he wants to bring him to his kind. It's like, you know, like people taking like foster animals. Not that Baby Yoda's an animal, but the goal is to,
because I'm foster. Wow.
No. The goal is to release them then back into the wild, right? And I think that I mean, that would be super sad, but that's his main goal, I do think. But
I could see him, like, if let's say Baby Yoda does end up, you know, going back to his species and there's some planet where there's a small amount of them or something like that. I could see the Mando as kind of like a what Cobb Vanth was. You know what I mean? The sheriff of the town. I can see him protecting that area, being like a protector, like living amongst them or something like that. Yeah. Every time he, like, you know, like when he was in Mos Pelgo, and we have Amy Sedaris' character, when he was away from Baby Yoda, when they're reunited, you can see that, like, he's happy to see Baby Yoda again. Like, you know what I mean? Their connection becomes stronger, like, as they're apart and when they're together. Like, they're a pretty good team, even though Baby Yoda's doing some, like, you know, trying to commit genocide to the frog lady, eating all her eggs. But you know what I mean? So yeah, I do agree with you. It's just so cool. Like the Star Wars universe already has so much cool shit in it, and then the Mandalorian comes along. You get someone like Jon Favreau, who's like Elf, Iron Man, all like even a comedy movie's mythology. He understands how to really rein that shit in. And now we're getting the Mandalorian, and we're getting spoiled. I think this is, I don't know. This is my favorite format to enjoy Star Wars. As much as I love the big movies and going to the movies, you know, a little bit soured on the newest movies. This is so enjoyable for me. I'm really looking forward. I'm like, I want the next episode now. You know what I mean? I'm like, that was great. Like, give it to me now. And I want to learn more about everything that they talked about in this episode. I'm like, oh, give that to me, you know?
Yeah, because the thing is, it makes sense. And a lot of things, you know, it's not our world. Things are not self-explained because it's not our world. It's not normal things. There are no Quarrens. There are no spaceships, you know? Like, that's the thing. And you need to explain a lot of things. And with the cinematic movies, especially the last 3 ones, I'm not going to bash them here now, but the thing is, that is a very short time, 2 hours or 2 hours 10 or whatever, to explain all of that, all the connections, all the new characters. And with the series, you have the time to explain that, so it makes more sense, and you get used to characters and you fall in love with characters. Like I said, you know, I did not like Ahsoka in the first and second season maybe of Clone Wars. I was like, what the F? She's so annoying. I hate her. And
like a little sister, like an annoying little brother or something.
Yeah, like you are to me. And
wait. I understand that if any more words come pouring out your cunt mouth,
wow.
I'm gonna have to eat every fucking chicken in this room.
Continue.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, little brother. And yeah, so what were we talking about? Yeah, so it is harder in the cinematic movies because they wanted to widen the universe. They wanted to stop talking about Luke and Leia. They wanted to introduce new characters, which is fine. But 3 movies are not a lot of time. People had a lot of expectations. People like you and me went in there who grew up with Luke and Leia and who had expectations for those characters. 15-year-old boys and girls going in there, they didn't have that many expectations, so it was okay for them. And this is what I think this series brings in all of the generations. Like I watch it with my dad, and I watch it with a friend and his little daughter, and she got introduced by me to this series, and she's like so hyped about it, and she didn't know Luke or Leia or anything. So it brings generations together, and you didn't have that many expectations from a Mandalorian and bounty hunter. You knew Boba and you were like, oh, cool armor, that was it, basically, right? So yeah, I love this format, and I do think a lot of people now will be interested in the animated series, which is a good thing because they are so good. Yes, it's animated, people, but don't be scared. It's still so you forget that it's animated because the characters are so good and so real. And go and watch it, seriously, because there will be a big gap, right? After this, nothing is coming, I think. Do you know anything new about the Obi-Wan series?
Well, actually, I wanted to mention this earlier, Helen. Ewan McGregor was wearing the Obi-Wan outfit on set of The Mandalorian. And Deborah Chow, who directed last season, I don't know if she's still connected to The Mandalorian, but she is the one overseeing the Obi-Wan series. It was originally going to be 8 episodes, and now I think it's going to be 6. I'm not sure, but they had, COVID happened and all of these other things happened. Story, they want to rewrite that, but Ewan McGregor on set as Obi-Wan, where I'm not saying he's going to appear in The Mandalorian. I just find that interesting. Because, when they film these things, they have like Titanic Studios, like they did for Thrones, or, they had this studio for The Witcher. And they film like, green screen stuff and stuff like that. So it's possible that they are doing something there with Obi-Wan and Ewan. And because, Ewan is my favorite casting. As far as the character goes as Obi-Wan, he's my favorite. And I actually just watched, funny enough, not related to Star Wars, Angels and Demons with Tom Hanks, the Da Vinci Code series. Anyways, he was great in that. But he's just great in anything he does. And I'm curious to see too how they could, kind of do this more Westerny vibe thing. I think it would be probably a different tone though than this, because this is more of the Kurosawa films where you got the Cub and the Lone Wolf vibe. You got to continue with that.
Obi will be completely different. Yeah. It's him overseeing Luke and him
more of like a spy thriller type deal, maybe.
Yeah, it's a limited series. We know that much, I think it will connect with Bail Organa and the politics. That is what I strongly believe. I think he will also watch over little Leia, baby Leia, whatever, and Luke. I think that will be the plot. Please bring Bail Organa back.
The secret politicking part, I really agree with you on. This one is more about like relationships and people, like what's happening to people around the universe. And I agree with you on what you're talking about there. People are saying that's right. There is, well, this isn't Star Wars related, but WandaVision, Marvel show is coming out January 15th. That's the next Disney Plus show that comes out, and Falcon and Winter Soldier is coming out March, April.
Yeah, they filmed it. Yeah, they're in post-production, or it's even done. Falcon and Winter Soldier, right? I think so.
And Witcher season 2 doesn't come out until next summer or fall. They're way behind. So,
oh wow.
Anyways, but yeah, I like, it's just so interesting. Like, even though this episode was shorter, Helen, like look at the things that we're talking about because of this episode, right? We're like, oh, like even though they're focusing on, one specific thing, there's other things that are starting to pop up once you start to mention Ahsoka and the Jedi Order. And once you get her on screen, then more conversation even starts to happen and the possibilities open, because Giancarlo Esposito said he was going to be in a lightsaber battle this season.
Yes. And he said he destroyed all the lightsabers they gave him on set, which means it will be an epic fight. The question is it so you fight with a lightsaber against another lightsaber, or you use the lightsaber, but the dark saber is a smaller lightsaber. Just remember that it's not one of the normal ones we know. The dark saber looks different. I do not remember. I think we had a small glimpse when he cut himself out of the ship, but the dark saber is a bit smaller. It's different. It's another crystal. It's a different. Fighter, right? Yeah, it's a different saber. So I don't think he fights off guns and whatnot. I think and Bo-Katan doesn't have a lightsaber, so it means he must fight Ahsoka or some other random unnamed Jedi. But I think it will be Ahsoka. So yay, exciting. But yeah, as you said, this episode was so important because now it introduces you to, it connects you to the universe we know. And that is so cool, and I love it. And I mean, it's Filoni who created all of them, Rebels, Clone Wars, and in Clone Wars, Lucas was heavily involved. So yeah, I love.
So sometimes what happens is I'm reading through the Witcher series in the books, and they have the short stories in the first 2 books, and there's characters that you see once and then they don't appear again because the short stories aren't necessarily part of the main novels. But, you see characters that you're seeing now and you're seeing them pop up again, with the exception of Quill, rest in peace, obviously. Someone had to bite the dust, but you're starting to see these characters reappear again. Speaking of characters that are going to reappear, next episode will feature Giancarlo Esposito, who plays Moff Gideon, Grief Karga, Carl Weathers, and also Cara Dune, played by Gina Carano. But also, we got a couple of other Mandalorians not named Bo-Katan in this episode. Like we said, we thought Sabine was Sasha Banks. Her real name is actually Mercedes Vernado, so Sasha Banks is her stage name. But her character's name is Casca Reeves. So she was the other female Mandalorian. And then there was also Simon Cassianides, who plays Axe Woves. So Sasha Banks' character is going to be in the next episode, which is really interesting, considering Bo-Katan was saying, let's go get the fucking Darksaber. So Moff Gideon being where he is, where things left off, there's some time that obviously passed there. Moff Gideon's not happy that Baby Yoda got away. And now everybody's interconnected. They're all connected now. They've all seen Baby Yoda in some sort of way.
Yeah. Well, the question still remains, now we know the Emperor was not dead, right? That was released in the last cinematic movie. So the Emperor was not dead, and this is the transition phase. So the Emperor must be alive during that thing. And I don't think, Moff Gideon is working on his own. That there is the Emperor behind all of this, right? I mean, that guy just said literally before he killed himself, or before he killed the pilots, "Long live the Empire," right? And
we don't know why Dr. Pershing and the client were analyzing Baby Yoda's DNA. Did they want to clone Baby Yoda? Did they want to take his essence to strengthen the Emperor and juice him back up or something? So
yes, so that is the question, and it's. I mean, I still didn't get, and I haven't, because I was a bit annoyed at that time when it came out with the last cinematic movie, and I didn't really get it. I mean, does Palpatine kind of feed himself from the power of other Jedi to keep himself alive? Is it similar to
a vampire?
Yeah, there is a story of the 1,000-year empire with oh my god, sorry, now I forgot. He has so many Valkorian. It's from the old canon and from old computer games. And Valkorian kind of went to a planet. He invited all all the Sith there, and he then kind of took their energy, and then he kind of lived forever. He made himself immortal, and that is very similar to what I feel what happened with the Emperor. And is it a clone of Yoda or somebody of Yoda's race? And does he want to feed from his energy? Does he need a new apprentice? I mean, look. He didn't have an apprentice at that time. I mean, he kind of was, looking for Rey or for what's his name, Kylo. So the question is, does Baby Yoda, does he want a new apprentice in Baby Yoda? Does he want to feed off of it? This is what I didn't get, and we might get a answer to that, which is cool because then it connects you even to the cinematic movies, the new ones.
Well, the Rise of Skywalker at the end, remember what Palpatine was trying to do? He was essentially trying to take basically the Force from Rey and
yes, that's
Solo.
what I mean. Yeah,
so that's kind of why my brain is kind of locked into the idea of what Dr. Pershing. But it's really weird. Dr. Pershing was wearing the clone patch from Kamino, so that's another thing. And then we saw all the Snoke clones that were in the Emperor's lair when we saw him again in The Rise of Skywalker. So that kind of is really interesting considering The Rise of Skywalker came after the Mando season 1. It kind of opens some things up, right? Because we were talking about some of these possibilities like during the season, and then we got the final answer and we're like, oh, I mean, now we know the Emperor is alive during the Mando, right? So that's kind of complicates things a little bit. So it is going to be really interesting to see who's giving Moff Gideon orders. You know what I mean? Like, who's above him? Because
but a Moff is already very high up.
Mm-hmm.
There is actually nothing. I mean, Tarkin was Grand Moff. That's literally the next. And then there's the Emperor. There's nothing in between. So I do think Moff Gideon reports to the Emperor. That would make I wouldn't know who would be in between there. So and there were not many Moffs left. You know that from Aftermath. There were just a few Star Destroyers left at that time, and there wasn't much left. It was way before the New Order. So who's he reporting to? So does the Emperor come into play as well? I actually don't want that. I know, I mean, I kind of want it, but then I don't want it because I want the Mandalorian
I don't think we're going to get that, Helen. I think they'll try to stay away from that. Filoni's pretty smart. Like, I think he has a good pulse on the fandom. Like, he really listens. He's a good listener, and he knows what is successful and what isn't successful. And I don't think he'll insert a lot of that in there. He might, like, mention a character, but I don't think we're going to see the Emperor. Per se.
Yeah, and what Jabba the Hutt, love that name, by the way. And then there's a fat cat. I love that. One of my cats looks basically like Jabba the Hutt.
Oh my God, the icon of that cat, a super funky looking cat.
Yeah. It's actually not true. Vader is not above the Moff. If you remember, Vader and Tarkin having. Oh, wait, my internet. Oh, no, I'm back. Vader and Tarkin talking. Tarkin does not report to Vader. Vader had another role. Vader was out of the normal order and all of that. Vader was, kind of the second in command, but Vader was the apprentice of, and that's a different concept. The rule of two is completely different from any military position Vader had. Yeah, I'm paying 10 million credits to get Baby Yoda.
Jabba the Hutt the cat. I'm laughing.
I love that.
I'm trying to stay focused, but it is really funny.
Yeah, I love that. Oh my God. And one of the little, I don't know if you got that, but do you remember Grief Karga gave the Mandalorian in the beginning, he gave him the credits, the Mon Calamari credits.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then finally he can use that money because he was like, where can I pay with that? That's ridiculous. Give me other money and Imperial credits or whatever. And then he literally and he kept them, and now he can pay with the Mon Calamari. And can we talk about, because I love the humor in Star Wars, I really love that. And except the Rian Johnson prank call humor. Okay. And I love the humor, and literally the ship when the Mandalorian came back to his ship and it looked like effing, I don't know, Waterworld, Mon Calamari. Like there were nets everywhere, and like seriously.
You know what I've also noticed too is in every episode there's like a Baby Yoda food item, like Baby Yoda and like the living squid, or Baby Yoda and the eggs, or Baby Yoda and a frog. It's like, and did they tease us? Did they foreshadow that Baby Yoda was going to be eating frog lady eggs? Because he ate a frog and then he ate frog eggs. So what's next for Baby Yoda? Is the question, because he's ate a frog and frog eggs.
He ate Krayt Dragon barbecue meat.
That's right.
Yeah, and Jabba. Yeah, Tarkin is a Grand Moff. I know. So that was
It'll be
what I'm saying.
interesting to see if there's more characters like the client, Werner Herzog's The Client, because Moff Gideon is above him, right? He was like getting information.
Exactly. Moff Gideon is way above him. The Client had another purpose, though, and I think he was more connected to these Camino, but not. But yeah, he's also
speaking
Empire.
of Hutt, remember the Mando says, "Do you speak Huttian?" Remember when he's trying to do all these different transactions?
Yeah.
So that's popped up this season. There's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a couple Easter egg videos next week. I really got to get into some of the Easter eggs in the first few episodes, because there's a lot that they hide in there. Like, you watch an episode and you're kind of just focusing on the main dialogue, and there'll be like, they're like when they were in that city at nighttime where the Mando was trying to get information. You can see like spray painting on the wall of like, the Republic symbolism and stuff like that. So that's really cool. I'll have to go through some of that. Mm-hmm. But overall, you really enjoyed the episode, Helen?
I loved it. I loved all the
first
characters.
Episode just a little bit more because of Timothy Oliphant, Cobb Vanth. I liked it just a tad more, but I gotta say I was really excited when Bo-Katan, Katie Sackhoff, and like they're like, if you look at them side side, like they got the same haircut, they look really similar, even though obviously Bo-Katan's an animated character. They made a great choice, and she was like, she's another Rosario Dawson, right? Remember her in Battlestar Galactica and other projects. She's a really commanding actress. Like when she speaks, she can play these really gritty, tough women, and she's a perfect casting for Bo-Katan, I think.
Oh, totally, yeah. And her, and the armor was so good. The armor looked like in Clone Wars, right? It's exactly that armor. So
I told the story about how it's been passed down through her family. We got more Mandalorian mythology as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. Which if they bring Sabine in, it's also because Sabine is such an interesting character. If Sabine is a character from Rebels, I think more people have seen Clone Wars. I really love Rebels though, and Sabine and her clan. It's really interesting because Sabine created a machine that can destroy, and it's called the Duchess, I think, even, and that machine can destroy, because we learn nothing can, or at least not a lot can destroy, not lightsabers, nothing we know of can destroy the Beskar steel armor, right? Sabine created a machine that can destroy the armor, and I mean, the Empire learned of that and they used it. And that is a really cool, storyline. So yeah, they could hint at that. That could come into play. So yeah, I would love if they introduced, because we thought, as you said, Sasha Banks could play Sabine, but she's not.
They're focusing more on Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan, yeah.
Yes. So let's
Who's
see.
to say she can't be introduced later? She can totally come in.
Yeah,
later.
no, totally. And it's not, there will be a season 3. I think they're already in pre-production.
2 months from now.
Exactly. So super cool. And we're in Irina, whatever your name is. Sorry. Yeah. I hope Ahsoka is more of a Jedi outcast level, like the old school video game. She's not a Jedi, it's a lead to darkness.
A grey Jedi, yeah.
Yes, well, whatever your name is, I can't spell it. I'm very sorry.
Jedi,
So yeah, obviously, she kind of is a grey. I mean, I would say Qui-Gon is the archetype of a grey Jedi. Ahsoka just chose no longer to be a Jedi for different reasons. She was not happy with what happened. The Qui-Gon way was different, how he became
He was more
the
of a
archetype of
philosopher.
of a great Jedi.
A life, like experiencing certain like traumatic events like Ahsoka did, which changed her kind of point of
exactly.
view.
And the Force priestesses taught him that way, and it's different. But yeah, I agree. She chose to turn her back on the Jedi because, and that actually happened many times in the old universe, in the old canon, with people like Revan and like a lot of people,
You
so
and
a lot of
Jabba said
Jedi.
Revan at the exact same time. You said Revan, and Jabba typed it
Oh.
literally within 1 second of each other.
Jabba, we like cats.
Yeah,
we like each other.
and
Okay.
a lot of people didn't like the new portrayal of Luke Skywalker in the newest trilogy, but Ahsoka has some similarities to Luke Skywalker in how they feel about, things going down. They're similar in that kind of way. And Ahsoka, we don't know if she's around anyone or if she's secluded, like hermit-like, if she's kind of taken herself out of society or anything like that. We're going to find out soon. That's for sure. So it's going to be really interesting to see where they take her character.
Yeah. And it's just, I'm so happy about everything they do with Star Wars now that we get, you have animated stuff to get your children into it. You have something like The Mandalorian, the whole family can watch. You have so much, even though at the moment we don't have the cinematic movies, but we
That's
have
okay,
so much.
Let's take a break.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like cinemas are open. So it's okay. No, I really love that, what they're doing. I mean, you can criticize Disney, but the thing is, with somebody like Filoni on board, who's so close to George Lucas and who loves this. He doesn't do this for money or for anything. He loves this. He created characters he loves, and you feel that in The Mandalorian, and I love that.
So big thumbs up from both me and Helen for this episode. Let's talk a little bit about the next episode before we end the stream here, Helen. And by the way, thank you everyone for joining. If you're enjoying this, we're hitting the 1 hour mark. Oh, we got a kitty sighting. Is this Teddy?
Yeah, it's Teddy.
So chat, just in case you haven't checked out Helen, the link to her YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram is in the description of the video. Please go and make sure you subscribe to her channel. She makes awesome content. If you want to support my channel, of course, you can like this video, subscribe if you want to see more content. I think I'm doing a PS5 stream tonight. I don't know. I'm pretty tired today. I'm not feeling the greatest, but I'll definitely be streaming tomorrow for sure. We're going to continue on for a few more minutes here. We're going to talk a little bit about episode 4 and kind of our predictions for that. We do see, I'm going to spam some Baby Yoda emojis in there. Another way to support the channel, you can find my Patreon in the description of the video. Starts at $1 a month all the way up if you do want to get extra content. And also hitting that join button. Get cool emojis and stuff like that. So I'm just going to pop in there, toss those in, and we'll start off with a conversation about episode 4. Carl Weathers, who plays Grief Karga, Helen, is directing this episode. And I find that really interesting because I'm not saying this is going to be his death episode, but this has happened in a lot of different shows where, like Catherine Winnick, for example, or actually, I don't want to spoil any shows just in case people haven't watched them. But anyways, there's multiple shows that I've watched where the actor, several seasons in, 4 or 5 seasons in, have directed their death episode. I'm not saying that is going to happen, but I just find it interesting. But yeah, anyways, Carl Weathers is going to be directing this episode, and it's at IMDb. I'm just looking here. Giancarlo Esposito, who plays Moff Gideon, Cara Dune, who is played by Gina Carano, and also the Casca character, Casca Reeves, who is played by Sasha Banks, will be in this episode. So that'll be pretty interesting. Maybe we have Bo-Katan and Casca and the other Mandalorians catching up to Moff Gideon, finding his location and having a fight. And also, of course, Carl Weathers is going to be in this episode too. He's directing. So really interesting. Thoughts for the next episode, Helen? I think you say it's going to be a side episode, another building episode. I think this one will probably be 40 minutes or so, probably not 30 minutes. They don't do too many of those back to back, but it'll be interesting to see what happens to have these characters reintroduced, because they haven't had a lot of, they haven't appeared in the first 3 episodes of the season. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, as I said, I can't whether whether character will be in there. I mean, what can happen? Where can he meet Cara Dune again? I mean, she gave him Bo-Katan gave him the coordinates and the name of the planet. What I always find so interesting is like they just drop a planet's name and a city's name, and then they're like,
Corvus.
go find blah blah blah. Like what the f? It's like me saying go to New York and find Peter Muller, and like what? How can I find him?
You know what's really interesting? The vibes that Bo-Katan gave me about that, I don't know if she necessarily trusts the Mando yet. So she might have not gave him the right information yet. She might have just given him, like, Ahsoka could be on this Corvus planet. I don't know.
No, I do think she trusts him because she knows he has Baby Yoda, and she likes Jedi. She really, I do think she has a friendship with Ahsoka, and she likes the Jedi. And I do think she knows the Jedi are extinct. I think she know is that Yoda is dead. We don't know if that word got out. Oh, what's happening? Okay,
that person was just spamming hi. Anyways,
okay.
Continue.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so I think she trusts him. I think she's not fully, she's not fully accepting him because she said, oh, well, I mean, wait a moment. I was born on Mandalore. This armor is in my family since generation XYZ. She doesn't think she's above him or anything, but but I think she trusts him because he has Baby Yoda, and she sees he takes care of him. He really wants to find. He's not just a bounty hunter. I think if he wouldn't have Baby Yoda, she would be, yeah, you're one of them. You're just a bounty hunter. But he has Baby Yoda. She sees he has a bigger purpose. She respects him for what he did on that ship. Risking his life for the crew.
He proved himself, so therefore she felt comfortable enough to give him the information.
And she told him this is the way. I don't think her people say this is the way. I think the normal Mandalorians don't say this is the way. I think this is the Death Watch saying, of the Mandalorians in hiding. And she said that. So this is kind of an approval for him.
It's really interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how the armorer, she pops back up again, because this is very forward with this is the way, and there's clearly two different ideology systems going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't feed Baby Yoda to the Rancor. That's not allowed.
And make Din my slave.
No, wrong one.
I understand that if any more words come pouring out your cunt mouth, I'm going to have to eat everything.
Anyways, Ellen, predictions for next episode. What do you think we're going to see? Do we see Moff Gideon really pissed off next? Do we get a more Moff Gideon centric episode? Do we get like maybe 10, 15 minutes with him or something?
Yeah, well, he must be pissed off. He knows that Bo-Katan is back in the race, that Bo-Katan is looking for him. He knows that from that officer he was talking to. Sorry, I'm having camera problems.
Okay. Looks fine on our end. I would see if it was messing up. We're good.
Okay, good. We will see him. I mean, he was pissed off that basically the Mandalorian shot him down from the sky. He had to cut himself out of his ship. I think he knows there are more people out for him now, and the Darksaber. And I mean, Mandalorians are no one to F with, I mean, you saw how they basically, I mean.
Do you think Moff Gideon was a former Mandalorian?
Yeah, people are saying that.
From the
This
Death
is
Watch.
why he knows. But then.
Is he the person that saved Din Djarin is the question. I think there's a strong connection between those two characters.
But what would then make him join sides with the Empire?
I don't know, but there's something interesting about him knowing this information and why he has the Darksaber.
Oh, but the thing is, I mean, the Empire knew a lot. They had all these spies everywhere. I do think the Empire could know a lot and have a lot of information on people. But I do think there's something of him being a Mandalorian. I mean, he's a human race. The normal Mandalorians are a human race. Humanoid, whatever that word is. Sorry. I don't know.
He hasn't appeared a lot. He said he's, like, by his interviews, going to be in the show for a while. It seems like he mentioned later seasons, whatever. He said
he's the main protagonist. I do think he's the main. In the beginning, we thought the client is the main protagonist, and then somebody bigger, the bigger fish showed up. I think it's him. If you say the Emperor doesn't, I don't think they will. I mean, maybe there will be, like a hollow projection from the Emperor or whatnot talking to him, but the Emperor in person won't show up. We don't know how he is. Very interesting question. Tinkerbell says, yes, Jabba will be dead. Yes, but if you've seen, is it either Clone Wars or Rebels? Should be Clone Wars. There's the whole Hutt cartel, there are a lot of Hutts. Like Jabba had lots of nephews, brothers. There are a lot of Hutts. So it's not just
very powerful
Jabba.
and wealthy. Yeah.
Yes, and they, in the Outer Rim and all that. Not-centric planets, that the Hutts, they kind of ruled a lot of planets. As the Mandalorian said, they have their own money and blah blah blah. So could be somebody else taking over from Jabba. Probably somebody from that family did.
Jabba the Hutt chat going down. Jabba the Hutt says he thinks Din Djarin is Gideon's son. That's pretty interesting. I don't know. No. We're not going to get too far into the rabbit hole there, but I do think we're going to learn a lot more through flashbacks and through Ahsoka talking about the Siege of Mandalore and Moff Gideon himself. I do feel like, while Moff Gideon is going to be an antagonist, we do see time for people to have redemptive arcs as well. And if this is going to be a long show, and there's going to be really morally bad things going down from the Empire's end. And if Moff Gideon does have a connection to the Mandalorians, we could see him flip maybe. We'll see. But that's a long way down the road, and we're only in season 2. Next episode will be really interesting, Helen. It's going to be a good one. All the episodes have been pretty good. Episode 2 was probably the weakest one this season, even though I loved how they took a kind of a spin on the alien face hugger. That was super cool. They took definitely some alien kind of myth and lore, and they, the
and
pods
Shelob
and
was
that,
in there,
spiders.
and the Arctic Shelob was in there for people who love Lord of the Rings references.
Yeah, and Jabba. Star Wars is in some ways a family drama for sure. But yeah, so far it's been really good. Like I said, me and Helen have both enjoyed all the episodes. We hope that all of you have enjoyed the episodes. Helen, it's been so great to have you back. It's been a while.
Yes,
it's been over a year.
I know. Well, the series hasn't been on for a year, so no, we'll do same time next week, and we'll do and we'll analyze episode 4, won't we?
Yes, we will. We will. We're going to continue to do these on Saturday. I think we'll keep just an easier day so we don't rush it for Friday night. It gives people a little bit more time to watch the episodes as well. I saw some people pop in chat. Amy Collins Russell said she was just finishing up. I did see Voice of Reason Dan pop in. He said he was going to watch the episode, but he said to pop in and say hey. So it's been really awesome to see, and some new people in the chat. Anyways, love to see new people in the chat like Jabba and other people that are popping in. So that's cool. Like I said, we are going to be creating more Mandalorian content, and this has been super fun. I'm just kind of chilling out, and people are saying they missed you, Helen.
Thrawn's cousin. Well, but he's not blue.
Yeah, he's just trolling. Troll.
I would love
Helen, where everyone, I got all your links in the description of the video. What's kind of next with you? You've kind of been busy on your end, just working and getting stuff done, right?
Yes, but as I always promise, well, I dropped some videos. So for everybody who doesn't know, my real love, I mean, Star Wars is my second love. My real love is Lord of the Rings, and I do have my own channel since like a year now. I think it's called The Clueless Fangirl, and yeah, I have a Lord of the Ring channel where I talk to friends about Lord of the Ring in a very similar format to this, and I do have lore videos, like shorter videos on stuff, but it's mainly about, it's not the movie stuff, third age stuff most people know. It's the stuff that happens before, so Silmarillion stuff, first and second age. And if you don't know that, I don't know if you like my channel, because you'll be like, what is this woman talking about? Like, who are all these dragons and people? But yeah, if you love high fantasy stuff and want to know more about the expanded universe of Lord of the Rings and Tolkien, go to my channel and yeah, check it out.
As you can see in her name, The Clueless Fangirl.
Exactly. And yes, I have Instagram where I post lots of fun Funkos and pictures of me with Funkos and stuff.
Food pictures.
Yes. And yeah. So, but I'll have more videos coming. I'm collaborating with amazing Lord of the Ring channels in the future. We'll do a cool Christmas thing from all the big channels like Men of the West and all these people. Yeah, it's fun and nice. And I love my Lord of the Ring community, because the thing is, I'm literally the only girl there. We have a private chat and it's just boys. It's literally just men and Helen doing Lord of the Rings. So if anybody's interested there and likes to talk Lord of the Ring, Carol does it sometimes with me, but I'm the only woman doing this. So we need more women, girl power for Lord of the Rings.
And by the way, everyone, Helen hasn't agreed to this yet, but we're going to do a Star Wars Mandalorian Christmas special episode or something.
Yes.
We'll do a Star Wars Christmas episode. It'll be fun, and we'll have some drinks together, and we'll chill, and we'll try to answer some questions and do like a Q&A and have some fun, because Christmas is around the corner. Christmas spirit, even if you don't celebrate, it is kind of fun to just have some fun around the holidays. Star Wars celebration special type deal.
Yes, we will. We can wear fun costumes.
Only Christmas sweaters and wine.
Yes. Yeah. And Tinkerbell said it, Helen, I like your channel, but I sometimes have problems to follow. Yeah, I know. But the thing is, all the guys out there do the lore videos about stuff you already know, about the movies and the books, So this is why I wanted to do stuff normal Tolkien fans don't know, and because he wrote many books besides Lord of the Rings. So yeah, that's going to be the stream for today. Thanks again, Helen, for joining. Tomorrow, yay! I haven't decided whether I'm going to play Assassin's Creed, the new Spider-Man on the PS5. I'm going to do a little poll on Twitter and on the community tab if you do want to vote to see what I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. And I will be doing a Mandalorian review and an Easter egg video that I'm going to be dropping Monday, Tuesday. So thanks everyone for joining. We really appreciate it. We will be back next Saturday, same time. And yeah, we hope that you'll join us. We'll have some fun. We'll answer some questions. We'll talk about the episode, do some analysis like we did today. And of course, everybody, stay safe out there. Wear your mask, social distance, be careful, treat others with respect, and yeah, have a great rest of your weekend.